a round of applause again for the participants. So I mean, like this documentary film features like multifaceted angles and perspectives of your experience in Hong Kong as domestic helpers. You know, among the six of them, you know, they all work in Hong Kong for a different period of time. But I think that doesn't really affect much of their point of view. So today we have our speakers, Christina Kayat, Mary Chris Anir, Marilyn Lopez, Jonathan Molina, Marshall Tomanis, and Nora Lonesto. So today, you know, I prepared some questions that I believe audience may be very interested to learn more, because in my opinion, domestic helpers have always been part of Hong Kong. They're very visible, but at the same time invisible, unfortunately. You know, usually, you know, every weekend we see domestic helpers. They have their gatherings in public spaces, but we don't really seem to have a way or try to get to know them better. So I think this will be a great opportunity for us to have this conversation. So later in the Q&A section, please do not be shy. Feel free to ask questions. So before we dive into specific experiences, I think it will be nice to learn more about how this collaboration comes together, you know, to produce this short film. I'm wondering if Christina, you will be able to give us a little bit more background about this collaboration.
Hello everyone. I think it was in October of 2021. Yeah, she reached out and she was looking for, actually not only in Guhit Kulay, she was asking if I know someone who will be interested in movie making, animation. So I posted on our Facebook page, but unfortunately nobody came. So all of us is from Guhit Kulay. So that we started, it was the time when we cannot go out, we cannot see our friends. So the meeting started through Zoom until the the finalization of this. We worked through Zoom. Yeah.
So, I think Justina from London,
Yeah.
she is very interested in your experiences in Hong Kong. Back then when you're trying to conceptualize this short film, does she give you any like angles or perspectives for you guys to brainstorm what you would like to include in the work, or it's more of freestyle brainstorming among you know, all of you guys? Lynn, perhaps? Maybe you know more?
Justina, she let us do whatever we want to do, just make it better. She didn't push us to do such harsh thing. She want us to be confident on whatever we're going to do in a film. That's why we are very happy to help her and to collaborate with her until the last the last part of the film.
I think because everyone, you know, already seen the short film just now, it involves a lot of personal experience, and you really need to open up, you know, your personal feelings, and sometimes it may be hardship, but sometimes it may be something positive and encouraging. And I wonder, and what anyone would like to share, is, you know, throughout this collaboration and process, what did you learn about yourself as you know, as someone, a migrant worker working in Hong Kong? I think I would love to know a little bit more about your personal thoughts and feelings. Anyone would like to share?
For me, I learned how to be more self-confidence and to be more friendly. To just like us, we collaborate for this field. That's why it will become unite, and become more successful.
Any other?
I learned to look back at my experience reflecting this film. No matter how bad is the situation is, everything will be fine as long as you find the solution, and there's no forever, even if you have bad days. So everything will be fine. So in this film too, we work so hard, the team work together so hard enough to make this film of how it is now, and with a big help of Justina.
I also learned to be more patient and to approach my colleague to do some interview, and that's all.
I learned being thankful to everyone. We learn how to share, and then we learn the stories of other migrants. It's an eye opener to us. What's really happening in Hong Kong with our fellow migrants.
I learned I trust myself and be confident, and I found out that I am very lucky because I'm not the same. I realized that not all migrant workers had a good situation, so I'm lucky.
I think this is also a similar conversation that I had with the four artists in the exhibition. No problem. And I remember I spent a long time to talk to each of you because at the beginning it's difficult to not ask me what I want. I remember, because a lot of times at the beginning of the collaboration, really want to know what's my expectation for your artwork. But then I'm very grateful to be able to kind of shift the dynamic, and that you guys have the chance to speak your own mind. So, no matter is the artwork in the exhibition or the co-collaborated short film, it's also an art form. And for you guys, especially a self-taught artist, how important are these kind of collaboration with Justina, like an academic, or with Parasite, like an institution in Hong Kong? What, how important are these collaboration for, people alike?
There's a lot of migrant workers in Hong Kong, so we are looking for ways that, because everybody has talent, but because of the limited space for us to show, this collaboration is very important for us to grow. Maybe somehow we'll find a way, like open a door for a future career, like the one Size Up by Bakani, who exhibited here also. So we're not aiming for super big time, but for 370 migrant workers or something in Hong Kong, there must be, people who are very gifted, and they need the space to be, like what you did, to be on the same stage with this veteran artist is very, very good for us.
Thank you. Anyone has more thoughts?
Like what Atikri said, there's a lot of talented workers here in Hong Kong, and we also want to say that we are not just a migrant worker. We are more than a migrant worker. We are talented, and we can give more, we can show more, and we can do more.
I think one of the challenges you guys have experienced, first of all, is that people only see you as a migrant worker, but you're also Filipina, you are a woman, you also have your family or children back in the Philippines, and I think we often neglect this kind of more dimensional persona, but we reduce the domestic helpers as just it is. And this is also something that I find challenging for people to do so, because at the beginning of our collaboration for the show, my directors give me a very important reminder as not to see you guys as just domestic helpers. And it's a bit difficult line because it's also because you're a migrant worker in Hong Kong that gives you a specific point of view compared to maybe other Filipino women living in the Philippines. But at the same time, how we're able to balance this kind of emphasis of identity is something that I also learned throughout the process. It's really important for me, this process is not really asking these artists to make a work and that's it. I think it also gives me an opportunity to learn more about their personal experience and also their culture and heritage. Because I have to confess, before collaborating with them, I have very, very limited knowledge of the Philippines and the festivals or the pageant competitions. But throughout conversations, I really learn much more than just looking up a Wikipedia page. So in this, throughout this experience, I I'm quite curious why you guys decide to use art as a medium or a channel to talk to visualize your experience rather than maybe, I don't know, using some other types of medium, like maybe writing a story or a text. But why art? Is there a reason, or why is it so important?
For me, art is important because, just like I said, art can save you from sadness, can save you from the depression, and can make you happier. And then arts can not only just like an art, you can make it like for in the future as a business. Yes, it's a business. It's for giving for your presents for relative and friends. And arts is just like we have arts in our life. We have arts in different way, and that's it. Thank you. For me, my personal experience, art is really big impact on myself because it's really helped me to cope here in Hong Kong. Using arts, I can express in my own without thinking the opinion of others. Because sometimes you do something that what others can say, I will do this. It's art, you can express whatever you want to. This is helping me.
For me, art is very important because it helped me express myself. Whenever I'm sad, then I just put it there through my photography. And when I'm happy, I will capture happy photo. I can tell story through that photo when I look back. What is that photo is all about? So that's how art helped me to be a better person. Like that.
7 years ago, I started to paint and draw. Then I didn't even realize that it would take me no further. When I was in school, I don't know, I was so shy and I'm so afraid about showing my art because I think it's not really good. But when I came here in Hong Kong to fight boredom, because most of the day I was alone in the house, so I used my my ability to draw, and then my employer started to show it, and then most of the time I throw the bad drawing, and then he get it from the rubbish bin and put it in one folder and keep it in the shelf, and he tell to his children that someday Chacha will be good artist, and then I show it to them now.
And your employers are very supportive to come see the show as well. I think this is something very encouraging, and I'm sure we cannot take this for granted. A lot of times, unfortunately, the employers are not really supportive in terms of these kind of personal development. So I want to move to a discussion that might be more serious. But since you guys have been living in Hong Kong for already quite a period of time, I sometimes see migrant workers having a very advantageous perspective to see how Hong Kong is or how Hong Kongers are, because we're always very centered, right? So we have our own definition of or understanding of who we are. But I think it will be interesting to hear how you guys see Hong Kongers or the city that we're living in. Any interesting or like whatever kind of observation, it's fine. Yeah.
Okay, for me, Hong Kongers is really nice person, through my experiences. Because when the time that I was just started photography, I do street photography, and then there was a time that I meet this one lady, very kind lady. She owned a shop somewhere in Fortress, and she is so kind, so smiling, and very friendly. Which is, even though I asked her the price of the scarf to be less, she still smiled, and then I feel the warmth on her smile. So I asked her to take photo of her, if I can, and she said yes. And then by the time the friendship started, exchanging numbers, and then she is the one who, like a mentor to me, which is not she doesn't know that she is a mentor for me, because she's the one who pushing me to keep going with photography from that very first picture that I took from her. Because after that time, she asked me to take pictures again, and then that's the time that I started. I need people to take photo, so I can practice every time. So every Sunday I do practice with her, and also she making my horizon more bigger, because she let her friends, hey, this girl, this woman, do really good photo now. She said, even though I don't really, because I just started at the time. She make my horizon bigger. Her friends know me, her clients know me. That's why, and they're very kind to me. They don't really see me as a migrant worker. They see me as a photographer, as a person who take their photo and memorize the phrase. Yeah.
For me, Hong Kong are very nice people. Yeah, actually, yeah. In my first year here, I just put in my mind, you're just a migrant workers, and Hong Kongers, they don't see you, something like that. But after a years, I met a lot of Hong Kongers. They are very nice. Then I realized, oh, I just put myself away from them. About Hong Kong, it's a wonderful place. It's the city and nature together in progress. The transportation is accessible very easily. That's what I love most about Hong Kong. It's very beautiful. You can do anything here.
For me, the Hong Kongers is that have a lot of people are kind and just like a friendly people. Just like even we are not both same, just like different country. They still have kind, and we can understanding the situation. And then just like I have friends also. They still go to Philippines, and some tourists can tour just like before. He can tour because my auntie also he is award, and then he can go to Philippines. And he's so friendly. I almost worked here for 10 years, and I observe Hong Kong is very it's a rich country because a lot of infrastructure are developing, and then it's good to think that there the beach here, or you can go there for free, no need to pay, and then you can explore and enjoy the varieties here. And also the some Hong Kongers I really appreciated because there's some NGOs here, like the Linsational and the Parasite. They give us exposure. They help us empowering migrants.
Thank you.
For my experience, 7 years of working here in Hong Kong, I met the other Hong Kongers people. Also, they are nice, but not all nice. Like we knew that because sometimes they think that when they look at us, uh, all the when they know that you are the domestic helper, sometimes they treating you uh, not nice, or sometimes they looking at you up and down. But just for my experience, and I also love the transportation here in Hong Kong, and also the food. They are all healthy. That's all.
There's always this impression or stereotype, let's say, that first of all, the salary of migrant workers in Hong Kong has a very significant discrepancy of what Hong Kongers earn. This is unfortunately the reality that we're living in. But at the same time, I heard many times that a lot of migrant workers here, they actually transfer like a lot of their monthly salary back to their family in the Philippines. I don't know if that's true or not, but that is also, of course, that's very generous and supporting the family. But at the same time, it also sparks certain conversation in terms of how you balance your work and family life. I mean, at the end of the day, you're also a worker in a different country, also that you also need to live, right? It's not just about supporting the family. So this is a touchy subject that I don't think anyone really talks about, and I would love to use this chance to ask a bit more about this, how the balance between work and your life in Hong Kong and your life in the Philippines. I wonder who would like
For
to share.
me, I used to set aside first because I am far from my family. I'm more than focused on my work here. I can call them if they need me. I need them. I can call them through Facebook. If the money, I can send them through the end of the month. But the money I can just like help budgeting. But I need to save for myself. Just like what I did, I buy some for my future. I save for my future, and I give for my parents. And for my work is work. I need to focus to my work. That's why I will not. I can concentrate it and do it well. That's it. Thank you.
My daughter asked me, she said, Mom, tell me. She said, tell me the truth. Are you domestic worker there? And I said, why? Because you always posted collaboration, exhibits, anything. You do the workshop, the painting. Are you really domestic helper? I said, yes, why? And then I explained her what is my passion, and at the same time, I say for their future. I talk to them, I explain everything. I tell them that I'm doing this for your own good, and then also at the same time, I'm doing my work and my responsibility as a people here in Hong Kong. You know, we need to do something that not against for the rules and law here in Hong Kong. That's how I explained to my daughter everything about myself here. Not for myself, also for them.
Okay, for me, I call my family mostly every Sunday. Yeah, because weekdays is my busy days. I need to take care of a kid. And also, whenever every one of us, mostly OFW, migrant workers in Hong Kong, mostly are the breadwinner of the family. We need to support them, but yeah, we still have this balance for them to know that we are not ATM, that we cannot give everything to them, which is we can classify what is needs versus wants. And also we need to encourage them to at least save at least 10% of what we send them. So we don't have to end up broke at the same time we are when we go back home, we lost our job. So that's how I balance family thing. I like helping to them, but I think it will be in the future. That's all, thanks.
For me, yeah. Luckily, many of us are like first child. In the Philippines, if first child, you are obliged to like feed the whole family, send them to school, the kids, your siblings. Before, before there was no like NGOs giving programs for migrant workers. So it's like I think it's 2010 there 2010 or 2007 in Rich, remember, yeah, they started the program that like tick, and I was one of the student who participated in that program. And the first week of that program is like I was locked for like I've been crying for the whole week because I cannot say no to my family. I cannot say no if they ask for something. I cannot say no because it's in the Philippine culture that you are a good child if you support. But now we have a lot of NGOs and financial literacy programs that being given by these NGOs, and we are very lucky that these new generations of migrant workers, they won't experience what we experienced before. So yeah, now I know how to say no. Thanks to Enrich.
Just a background story, I got to know Kuhit Kule from another NGO called Enrich Hong Kong. When I was doing research, I realized they have done exhibitions 5 years ago in Enrich Hong Kong in collaboration with I think the Council of the Philippines, if I remember correctly.
At the Hive.
Yes, that's another one. But that's actually how I got to know all of them and able to invite them to participate in the show. I think these are, the experience that or the ideas that you mentioned just now are very important because when you are, someone in diaspora, someone who works overseas, how it's very tricky to balance your personal life, but also support your family. Because I think a lot of Hong Kongers or typical Asians also share a similar psychological burden, which is we always worry if we don't contribute money back to the family, does that mean I am not a good child? And I don't think there's a right or wrong answer, but these are very realistic concerns and experiences that I think nowadays more and more people are experiencing. Like a lot of Hong Kongers are also moving to other countries, and a lot of young people also share a similar struggle. And I think learning from migrant workers are actually a very important part because don't you think it's very interesting that some are called migrant workers and some are called expats? I think this is a very unfair kind of use of terms. So even it's like a very interesting power play because in Hong Kong you guys are called migrant workers, but for one day, for example, a Hong Konger or Asian person moved to Europe or the United States for work, they're also not really expats. people see them trying to immigrate to, you know, a different country, and it seems like there's a very clear hierarchy and power dynamic involved. But that's why I find it very sarcastic that only when the Hong Kongers are experiencing a similar situation, then they realize they're also treated unfairly in other countries. So I think it's important to also address that, because migrant workers can be a factual term, but it's very racially charged, and also a very controversial term, I would say. So this is something that, despite the whole conversation we're using domestic helper or migrant worker, I still hope that we have a very clear understanding that there are a lot of context involved in these definitions, and I think it's important to address it. So it's a mix of bittersweet and experiences that you guys have in Hong Kong. But back then we read a lot of news in Hong Kong that there are certain unfortunate events, abuse or mistreatment of employers treating domestic helpers, and that leads to a more, I would say, heavier conversation in terms of the mental health of domestic helpers or migrant workers, especially because, as we heard that there are not many, back then there are not many support locally for the community or this group of people. At the same time, with just supporting yourself individually, it's very difficult. It's very with a lot of pressure. So right now, it's kind of lucky that we have more organizational support, but we can always need more. So for you guys, like catching up with your friends or when in the gatherings, during the weekends, I'm sure you all heard different stories, and also maybe personal experiences, or you heard experiences from your friends. Do you think like how for you as a domestic helper in Hong Kong, what kind of do you think so to say the mental health it's something that people are willing to talk about or among your friends? Or also I want to know if you have any ideas, or you think there should be a little bit more support or improvement in terms of the structure, and that can offer more advice or support in terms of the mental health of domestic helpers. I think this is something that also we never really talked about in public, and I think this might be a good way to touch upon the topic.
I think it's very important to have a support group. Well, for us Filipinos, we have our own group. Like we build a organization, but of course, every one of us are migrant workers. So we need, like, if we need counseling, we go to Philippine consulate. But with all the numbers of people going there, I don't know if they can cope. So one time, when I was still contributing for the Sun newspaper, I raised the question of having someone coming from the Philippines as DSWD, someone who works for counseling, and they get one, but only one. How can the big community? So maybe in Hong Kong there will be focus group or support group for these people. It's not easy to pinpoint who's having a problem, but maybe if they know that there's an organization that supports mental health, then maybe everyone can go on their own. Like, you don't tell other people that I have a mental health problem. You just go on your own. So it's easier if you know some big organization that can help you.
I think it also relates to the limited resources in Hong Kong, because you know, in general we already have you know, it's a very unbalanced supply and demand for in terms of psychotherapy, counseling to people who are in need. So in you know our unfortunately in our usual medical and health system, you know, it's already in such demand that somehow we cannot allocate more resources to other you know different types of communities in Hong Kong. But I'm wondering when you mentioned about the support from the counseling, is it more offering like some kind of psychologist or are they offering, what kind of help are they offering?
I think she came from a social worker department in the Philippines, so she's here. You can approach. I can go actually there. Yeah, and they have a hotline actually. We also have OWA, which is the Overseas Workers Welfare Administration. Yeah, I think they have, but I don't know how they respond if you go there or there's a hotline. And, yeah.
Do you others have any thoughts on this?
Yeah, one of my friends asked me other day. She said, "Do you have do you know some groups who can help me?" I said, "Why?" "Because I'm suffering from depression and anxiety," she said. She's one of my good friends, so I told her that I think it's better to talk with me. I want to help her first before I give her a group that can help her. And if I can help her, then I'll give her some group like Caritas. They are offering mental health. But I think my friend now she's fine because I keep on talking to her. Every time she's calling me while I'm working, she's crying, something like that. I think we need maybe many workers here in Hong Kong actually they don't show that they are depressed, suffering from depression or anxiety, because they are working. They don't have time to tell to anyone that I'm suffering from this kind of depression. They make themselves busy, and the depression is the factors are like they have family problem, but in the Philippines, financially, suffering from pressure and work, so many factors that we can, the trigger of their depression. I think we need something, groups to help us. Because actually, me, I'm an artist, but I, I can tell that I also suffering sometimes from anxiety. But because of my art and I have a lot of friends, I have myself.
This is something I want to circle back is, you know, Guit Goulet is, you know, an artist collective, and perhaps art will be a good way to help help your friends to channel the sadness or the anger through art. And now, you know, with the pandemic, so to say, gone, do you guys plan to organize more weekend workshops or using the public spaces to have these events or focus groups, so to say?
Please. Actually, yeah, we are even late December or late last year, we started our regular monthly workshop, free workshop for the migrant workers. So we're hoping to do it, but we need space. We rent a place in Bayanihan Center for at least 2 hours for one workshop each month. But right now we stopped because we have a lot of activities going on. And yeah. but we want to continue because it's a way to help our fellow migrants to cope with the situation and learn new skills.
Well, thank you so much for sharing. Anyone in the audience may have some questions for? Oh, okay, great. Well, thank you for being so proactive. One by one.
Hello, thank you very much. Because I have been doing research on domestic workers in Hong Kong, but since there are areas that I could not really get into, for example, the living situation in the employer's home and also the agency problem, because I have heard that so many domestic workers, they have the problems of debt, and then this is because the deal of their agency in Philippines and that of the local, and that is also the area that I cannot really touch. And so I really think that there is really a very variable work. And then my question is, do you think towards then you think the medium, the animation allow you to voice out this kind of issues freely? And then because one of the domestic workers friend, you have been practicing photography, and so there is also image and how photography is different from animation to you. And then for Parasite, maybe you have already mentioned that because I think in the third video maybe it's about the need for the public space to continue the workshop. And so I think this Parasite think that there is any possibility of not only using artists to empower the domestic helpers, the domestic workers, but also using this as a kind of art activism so that you can collaborate or try to publicize this kind of list to more people and even the director, district board members, etc., so that we could make it happen. And then finally, that is about, so since animation is very powerful, I think, for me, and so do you think that you can also teach this workshop, because I do not really know the collaboration process, but if more other domestic workers could use this medium to voice out their concern, that would be good. But then it requires a lot of resources, because there is not only paper and drawing pencil, right? But would you want that? If you want that, what do you think that we can do together to make it happen?
I will rephrase a bit. Thank you so much for all the questions. I think for Kuhit Kule members, maybe first of all because in the exhibition we didn't use the animation, right? It's all the sculptures, textile, paintings. So for you, what are the differences of trying to make like a animation together compared to more conventional media like a painting or sculptures, and if that gives you more power or a bigger platform to voice out, to speak your own mind, and photography also like moving image or moving image based works, is that something that gives you more a bigger platform to talk about issues? So while brainstorming that, I will get back to the Parasite question. I think this is back in the day we have some more smaller workshops or public programs that are related to migrant workers or domestic helpers, but we never really had a chance to invite like literally a collective to work or to collaborate in an exhibition. Before we sometimes show sizes photography works, and a very popular Filipino photographer. But I think what we can do more is inter-organizational collaboration. I think it's hard enough for domestic helpers or collectives likewise to approach an organization. First of all, it will be very easily filtered. Unfortunately, because maybe they're not, so to say, professional artists, and a lot of times, as I mentioned actually earlier in my tour today, that I always question why there is such a distinct, like a line between a self-taught artist and professional artist, right? And especially in an institutional setting, that's why I hope to take this opportunity to break that binary and to have them on board for the show. But I think what I'm trying to say as inter-organization collaboration is that now we have the pleasure to work with them, with a experience working with them. It's actually very easy for us to connect them to another organization for other projects and workshops, because organizations trust other organizations. So I personally have been planning something, trying to make that work in August. Haven't told you guys yet, but I'm planning something for them, and hopefully is a collaboration with another charity organization. I think this is very important. I mean, before working with Parasite, they also showed in chat, for other types of works, and I think this is something we have to do by ourselves for as organizations, and hopefully we will have more collaborations to come. But this is something that, at least in my own personal capability, is something that I hope to continue to work do for them. So yes, thank you.
Thank you.
And yes, going back to your question.
Okay, so from conventional painting to animation, it's like from sketching to acrylic to, it's like you're upgrading. you're putting more knowledge into our group. Every one of us are most of us are self-taught. So every single medium we want to try. We want to try and maybe get better to what medium is our specialty. I think that's what I feel about this. It's like development for me to learn.
But if it's more specifically about the animation that you guys work together, it's a completely level of technology, and also a lot of back and forth with the animator, and so I think it's we need to clarify, but I think the Tom, right?
Yeah.
He works a lot in terms of the
we
CGI.
work through Zoom only because Tom and Justina is in London, so we only see each other on Zoom. Yeah, so all the documents is from us. The recording, the stories, as we recorded ourselves, and then we send it to them. And Tom, the animator, he's the one who put it all together. So yeah, maybe next time we learn how to do it, put together.
Do you think from that experience, seeing your story from, so to say, another person's perspective, because of the animation, at the beginning of the process, do you see any differences between what you imagine and what he imagined? If that makes sense?
For me, it's like wow, because I don't know how to do it. And when Justina showed it to us for the first time, it's like, wow, how did he do it? He did it through internet, and we just sent him the picture, and he animated the picture in a way that we understand. We know that place, the area. We sent some sketches also. Yeah.
Okay.
So
Oh, Justina asked Guico Live to do an interview for the story. So every one of us give her one story. Then she asked for the photos, and then more about the story. And then the painting, what you can see from the video, there's a painting actually that those are art painting. she include, and all the photos there is from us. So she collect everything. The voiceover is also from us. Then she compress it all, and when she show the animation, it's amazing, really amazing. And then also actually, she's coming, and she said she will teach us. Yeah.
Oh, that's so
She's
sweet.
coming this coming March.
Oh, okay, okay.
And she said we're going to have 2 Sundays, get together and do everything and workshop at the same time.
Great. Okay.
I think actually you've just answered my question, but I have a second question if that's all right. I was curious, it seemed like each interview had sort of a similar structure, so you talked a bit about your background, your experience in Hong Kong, and then your hopes for the future. Did you come up with the questions together, or how did you go about thinking about what you wanted to say in each of your sections?
We have actually Christina sent us a questionnaire, but she said you can ask whatever, or the interviewee, if she wants to elaborate more, to put more stories, then just write it down and see what. Actually, this film is supposed to be done in January of 2020, but it just goes on, it becomes bigger. So the stories is much more complex, and we added one more story. Yeah, it was supposed to be just 3 stories, and then it becomes bigger because it's very yeah.
Any other thoughts on this?
Actually, because of the pandemic, that's why we use animation, Justina said, because it's hard to do the actual. And then as I observed in the film, you see the buildings that is the same because our actual picture it used for the animation, and it helped more emphasize the story and the situation in that story.
For me, I tried to approach other fellow migrants, but they refuse to eat because they want the privacy. Because the film is all about the documentary of migrants, and then one of my interviewees, I asked one of my friends to interview if she want, and I sent her a question, and she answered all my questions. That's why we sent to Justina.
And that section at the end, the message to other fellow domestic migrant workers, did you come up with that statement together, or how did you go about writing that at the end, that last section?
That was just random thing. Maybe just feeling that supposed to be migrant workers be doing, because yes, everybody, every human being in the world is just, you cannot just give anything from other people. You need to save something for yourself, and yeah, set the goals, be a better version, and that way you can be better. And yeah, and yes, that's why I just came up with that randomly, or maybe in my heart. Thank you.
Thank you.
I have 2 questions. So the first question is that how different do you think the animation turns out from your expectation? Or if you're the one who made the animation, would it be like, how would it be, or how different will it be from the animator right now? Because like for me, eventually, like the animator, although like he might spend a lot of time like communicating with you guys, but of course he has his own aesthetics and way of expression. So I wonder if you can do the animation, how different would it be, or your expectation from it? And the second question is that
Um, like a lot of Hong Kong people or foreigners, of course, they would be curious or they want to know about domestic helpers or they care about domestic helpers. But do you feel some kind of expectation from them when they ask you questions that sometimes would make you feel uncomfortable sometimes? Because like for me, my mother is a Filipino also, and she was domestic helper. And when I talk to people, when they want to know about domestic helper, they always want to ask about the difficulties of domestic helpers or how much hardship they have gone through. But for me, who like when I'm always staying with these artists like that, sometimes I feel like the question to me is like I feel like they expect too much story from me. For me, of course, I know that they have gone through hardship, but for me, they are just very strong and yeah, they're just very great people who can overcome these problems and stuff. So sometimes when people ask me, I feel like they have certain kind of expectations. So I wonder, like for you guys, do you encounter the same problems, or for you, if you want to express about yourself, what actually do you want to let other knows besides those hardship or yeah?
For the animation, actually, it's not my expectation. The first thing that I tell to Justina, oh, this is the animation. It's looks like the game. You know the gaming? It's something like that. I thought it's kinda animation like a movie animation, something like that. But this one is kinda like a game. But I don't know that it's like that. But I like it. I like it. I like it.
When I watch the animation, I already impressed because animation is hard to make. When I was in college, we do the we program, but I forgot how to do it already because I study engineer. So we make something, we program something, and then it become a house. That's why when I think, oh, it's so hard to do it. And for now, maybe we cannot do it like that. It's amazing because we don't really have the experience to do the animations.
We also don't have the proper software to do it. So yeah, the animation is really, really good, and maybe someone can help us learn.
I will remember that. Okay.
The animation right now is more like ambience, like the environment of your place. For you, if like you have the skills or you know everything, you have all the hardware, would it be more like a story like or with more drama or things like that in your own imagination?
One thing I realized just now, no, the other day, I want to add that story but already done. So finish already the making. I want to add something like how our employers be nice. It's not, be so nice. I mean, it should be there's one more story that showing how the employers be treated their helpers very good, like a family. I want to add that in the story, but it's too late. I just realized lately.
Maybe part two.
And in my expectation, actually the animation is really amazing. It's enough amazing. But in my expectation, is something like I wanted like something like people's moving together with some stuff there and with a little bit dramatic music that make everything and cry whatever struggle in that story or whatever. But the animation is amazing. We don't have any skills for that, so we cannot ask for more. Yeah.
Actually, I just did not know that we minimize the people there in the animation so that we can focus in the story and the personal story.
Yeah, and
And it's so hard to make that one because we do in Zoom.
and it is also made during the pandemic, which there's no one is in the floor. As you can see, there's only one person moving on the
Yeah, it's the reflection of the how
It
we
is
feel enjoying pandemic.
intentional.
Yeah.
I think there is one more person.
Answer the question
Yes,
about
second
the,
question.
the second question about the
second
stories,
question is,
like stories, a lot of people try to ask more
Right.
stories.
I think this really comes back to like how people see you guys. A lot of times we reduce our understanding to see you're only a domestic helper, so we only focus on your hardship, difficulties, the negative feelings, so to say. But there are much more within, right? So as I mentioned, you may be a Filipino woman, you may be a Catholic, you may be, many more different identities. So if you have a choice, like to reply, those kind of questions, what would you like to tell the person of who you are, like besides maybe the role of domestic helper?
I think we will gonna be replying I'm gonna be replying in some positive way in my struggle, because I know it's nice to share. It can make your shoulder a little bit lighter, but it's more good to share and nice and positive stories for people to be inspired and motivated, I think. And also, as she said, we are not just a migrant worker. We are more than that. We can share more stuff that can empower domestic worker. I think that's all. Thank you.
As a domestic helper, this is my dream also to go here in Hong Kong. Yeah, not only just to work, but only to showing how we love our work, the family, the employer. Yes, we sometimes they didn't understand. As a domestic helper is a helper, but we have feelings. We treated good as a family then. And it's hard sometimes because we are far from our family. But this is for me. This is my dream also to go here in Hong Kong, and I love Hong Kong also. I love this is my second home. And thank you.
Yes.
Thank you, guys. Yes, yes. I'm Felicia from Sensational. So I thank you so much. I know how much time you have put in this, spare all your busy work, and then because you joined our program, and I know you've do a lot, spare your weekends, and then I really appreciate that. And then just one question: is there any chance that their work, also this video, can be brought to the Philippines? I think it's more than actually the root cause of all this is in the Philippines, the governmentality of sending people away, and then they forgot how much talented people they have been sending away, and then it seems not gonna change. So I think by bringing their stories back to the Philippines will be a very powerful exhibition, because we are a very, very small organization. We sent one at the end. We sent her back to the Philippines to do a small photography workshop in a town, and her, I think it's in her hometown, to high school students. It's very small, but then the result is quite good. But then we don't have a lot of more resources to carry on doing that. But I think their stories should never only live here abroad, but needs to be brought back to the Philippines, to their home country, and then to challenge how the government, you've been sending so many good, talented people away, but without, and I also, from all the stories, I feel that actually many of them do want to go back home to stay with your family. If there are opportunities back home that you can earn decent money, and then do what you are good at, I think you want to make a choice of going abroad and doing this job. So if Parasite is a very well-connected organization with international relations, so if you guys can, I think all of us will appreciate so much that this kind of things do not only live up here and then can be, to different places. Yes.
Thank you for bringing this to my attention, because
Yes.
I didn't really think of at the end of the day, it's the relationship within migrant workers. It's a relationship between Hong Kong and the Philippines, and I think it's important that we need to take every sector into account. It's not just what they've been through in Hong Kong, but also the host, like the origin of the policy in the Philippines, where they have this kind of policy, sending people away rather than nurturing local talents. I think this is something that it should be addressed. Thank you for letting me know. I will. I have some ideas.
Yes, that's good.
But yeah, I think it's important to. I want to emphasize, like the exhibition, the public programs. It's just one stop. I don't see projects as just within 3 months and that's it. There's a reason why I choose this theme for this show. Back then, I am struggling between two. The first one is about fandom culture. The other one is about ecology. As you can see, one is a little bit more on the ivory tower, and the other one is more down to earth. And I decided with fandom culture because I think this is something, for the very least, Hong Kongers would like to have a show like that. I think we've been, since the 80s and 90s, the golden era of pop culture now, to a new generation of idols in Hong Kong. I think this is something that we would like to talk about, and it seems like no other organizations are doing a show like that. So I was like, okay, let's try, and that is why I hope talking on a topic that's more down to earth and more accessible to public. It's not too difficult for people to understand. I think I would love to keep this spirit and continue, and let's see. I think it's step by step, but it will be great to work on something that links with the Philippines. Thank you so much. I think that's it. So thank you so much for everyone here today, and again all the speakers and artists from Kuhit Kole. And just a little bit more promotion. So tomorrow at 9 p.m. in Hong Kong, I'm going to have an online talk with the Vietnamese artist Diane Sebrin Nguyen, who made this wonderful video work outside within the yellow curtain. Joining us will also be Jacob, who is the male dancer in the video, and it will be an online talk that kind of connects Vietnam and Poland with a common language of K-pop. And also next Saturday, we'll have our last tour in Cantonese, following with a public program that's about perfumes. Because when we talk about fandom culture, we always think about the visuals or the sonic perspective, but actually olfactory perspective is also very important, because we have a lot of those perfume advertisement with celebrity endorsement, right? So perhaps something more raw and more sensual sensory will allow us to have a different understanding of this idolization and embodiment. So if you're interested, please come by next Saturday and to join us. So yeah, thank you again for everyone.
Thank you so much.